Whatever. That's Radiohead.
Oh, okay.
It's called Bulletproof. In parentheses, I wish I was.
Okay.
Off of the Bends. It's great. Very beautiful song. One of my favorites.
Sounds like it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Great Measures. My name is Richard. This is Judson.
Great Measures.
So we started this channel in August of 2023.
Don't remind me.
Hasn't quite been a year yet. I think that just kind of became this, it kind of organically happened, like everybody that watches, and myself included, we wanted to see how your palate adjusted, and
Oh God.
it's not going to be bad, I don't think. It's we've done this band once already. We did it on Halloween last year, the Black Dahlia Murder. One of my favorite bands of all time. The song is called Deathmask Divine. It's from 2007's Nocturnal is the name of the album, Nocturnal.
This is the only band out of all metal that I've ever seen live.
It's true.
No, I saw, and Cannibal Corpse was at that show too. And then some other band, I want to say it was Goat Whore.
Yeah.
Is there a band called Goat Whore?
Yeah, absolutely.
Goat Whore, Black Dahlia Murder, back when your boy was still kicking it live. Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lineup.
And Cannibal Corpse is what I saw. Wow, dude.
It's a hell of a lineup.
Never really listened to metal ever. And Black Dahlia Murder I latched onto because it was so musically, I latched onto them. I thought it was awesome. Anyway, we talked about this.
Yeah, so this song, Deathmask Divine, it is based on Ed Gein.
Oh no. It's horrible, isn't it? Is it terrible? The lyrics? Is it? Am I gonna feel like I have to go take a shower or
Just
hide?
depends. No, I mean it's not. I don't know. We'll just see.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
you
not.
do know.
Lyrically, like there are worse songs out there. There are worse.
That's not that's not the way
I know.
to make
That's what I'm
somebody
saying. I
feel
don't
better.
know where
That's
you
much
are.
worse.
I don't know where you are in your.
So that's what this is. To get to see that. I mean, you started this conversation.
Well,
with
that was not my intention until you brought it up. I really just wanted you to hear the song. It's one of my favorite songs.
What's the name of it again?
Deathmask Divine.
Yeah, it does. I know about Ed Gein. I know what he did. I know what they convicted him of.
Man, Trevor just writes it so beautifully.
Yeah, well. What else? That's all you got?
That's all I got. Let's
really?
do it. Yep.
That's it?
Yep. Yep.
When did this come out? 2005?
2007.
No, well, I knew it had to be somewhere around
why I
there.
keep having
You're right there in that time frame.
Well,
of
this is a different-
2003 to 2008.
Yeah, because we've done what? Kill Switch Engage, All It Remains, Darkest Hour, Shadows Fall. This is
Lamb of God.
Lamb of God. Yeah, forgot about Lamb of God. This is a little more. This is not. This is straight up death metal. This is melodic death metal. This is just straight. That's what I'm more curious about, honestly. Lyrically, I don't really care if you like it or not, but I'm more curious about how you're gonna handle everything, honestly.
All right, well, let's do it then.
All right, buckle up, Judson. You ready?
Proceed, Richard.
Before you see the broken man, your friend will be destroyed.
Lay it on me.
No, musically, of course, I love it.
Okay.
I like anything melodic.
Yep. A lot of cool melodies in there.
Yeah. And I like the chord progression when he's going through they're in C minor. I like do they drop it down to C?
Yes, I believe.
When he was doing the guitar solo. That's cool. Had a lot of cool chord progressions in there. That whole, you know. Yeah, I like melodic anything.
You mentioned the kick drum, the bass drum there.
Yeah, how does it do that?
So that drummer, yeah, his name's Shannon Lucas. He did this album, he did the next album, and then he did 3 albums with them. He did this one, the next one, and then the one after that. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. He also did. So the All That Remains song that we did, this and Death in My Arms, the next album that they had, which is probably their most popular, or one of their most popular, and I plan to show you a song from that album. He was on that album as well, and like he just kind of like any band that he's in my opinion, he just takes them to a different level. Like, because the album before this Black Dahlia Murder album was called Miasma. Or Miasma, I don't know, Miasma, and he wasn't on it. And you can hear the next level of musicianship that happened.
It's all about the drummer, man.
Yeah, he's a monster. Now their current drummer is incredible too, Alan Cassidy. He's a beast. But yeah, some of the kick drum stuff in this whole album really is just. I mean, I couldn't do that. It sounds hard enough to do that, you know. Anyway, without using your hands anywhere.
Yeah.
But
then also doing it in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just the act of going, you know, just doing that, and then also having to make sure that you're doing it in time. Mm-hmm. And then, as you say, your other limbs have their own brain doing its own thing.
Sure.
So what's trocar mean?
So it's a funny story. When this album came out, maybe I don't think I listened to this. I don't think my tastes had been to this extreme yet. I think maybe the first time I heard this album was maybe around 2010, 2011. And I was at work. I was working in a factory. Had my old block iPod, you know, and I'm going through and I'm listening to the lyrics. I'm reading the lyrics when I can, and I read that word trocar, and I think, well, it's got to be some sort of like a embalming something or some sort of. So there was a guy that worked with me. That's actually a good friend of mine. His dad owned a funeral home, so I just go up to him and I'm like, "Hey, what's a trocar?" And he tells me it's like this long rod. It's what they use to pull the fluids out of someone's body during the embalming process. The blood, the fluid, I guess, all that stuff.
So, well, no, it's really, all right.
Buckle up, everybody.
No. So I always try to think, I think it's okay. I think it's healthy for me to try to understand from another person's point of view, to try to understand somebody else's point of view.
Sure.
Okay? Because the more we scratch at this thing of light and dark, or good and evil, however you want to say it, it brings you to the middle. Mm-hmm. I think.
Okay.
In our conversations, I know that's where there is no good and evil, really.
Right.
Is there morality? You can make an argument that there is not.
Okay.
Okay. If, you know, if you look in nature, I mean, okay, nature kills, you know, nature dies and is regenerate, you know, and we don't see it as brutal. I mean, we go out there and we tear down limbs off a tree with no regard for the fact that the tree is also breathing. Mm-hmm. That might hurt the tree, but you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
However, I don't think I've ever seen a lion go kill a hyena, strip the entire skeleton of its skin, and then you put a trophy up. Now, I don't know that. I mean, maybe there is something that a lion does to say, look at all that. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is if somebody is compelled to be a serial murderer, they're compelled.
Specifically Ed Gein.
Specifically him in this particular context. He's compelled to do so, or he's conditioned to have the mindset of interest in this kind of thing. This guy didn't just go kill people.
Right.
He explored. One of the images that I really liked in the lyrics have to do with stretching like a butterfly out.
Yeah. Pinned to the bed sheets like a prized butterfly.
Yeah, and so that struck me sort of to think, well, this person's just wanting to know more about how things work in a fleshly sense, right? It's extremely grim because you're taking the life of somebody else. But that aside, if you can put that aside, then it seems really sort of beautiful the way that he writes the lyrics on it.
I have said it multiple times, yes.
And it kind of makes you go, I can see where maybe that's not where I can imagine something in myself and see that
right.
that would be warm and exciting and beautiful. But it helps me
and it's not even I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's I do mean to cut you off, but it's not even a compassionate empathy, but there is a little bit of empathy there from a sense of like I can now, with reading the way that's written, see put myself in those shoes. I can't get my brain to work that way to where I'm curious enough to kill someone and explore mortality and death afterwards. But I think it allows you to, because his imagery is just, and the way he
it's sort of uncanny.
Sews those words together. Yeah, it's
sort of uncanny.
Yeah.
Like, how do you?
Which he was a huge, horror movie fan. He wrote, we may have talked about this already. Do you know that it was late 70s, early 80s? It was Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead movie. There's a scene in that movie where the girl is in the woods. The vines take her and rape her, essentially. I don't know if I can even say that word on YouTube, but
Rape.
But he, on their 2013 album Everblack, he wrote a song called "Raped in Hatred" by Vines of Thorn, and he wrote it about that scene in that movie. And it's just the way he brings things to life with his words, even though it's gruesome and it's grim and it's vile. Like it's he had a way of weaving those words together, and even some, like a lot of his stuff, he would use like an old English type of speaking. I mean, even when he says prized, like nobody really says prized,
Inspector Clouseau would, that is Pink Panther. Anyway, Peter Sellers. Anyway.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just.
Well, there's a slippery slope in there.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
I love.
Some people are able to separate.
Well, I love poetry, and there's a lot of poetic device in there. He's really good at putting you to. He's sort of making a case for it, You know, it's like if you're in a court of law and somebody is defending someone who's killed somebody, and they're saying they did kill somebody, but this is why. Look at where he comes from, and they paint this picture for you. And you go, well, it's not so bad. I probably would have killed somebody too, or whatever. But so again, it's this. The portrayal of it can be a beautiful thing. You can make anything. It's the perception of it, really, right? You can stand on any side of it. And I think Trevor allows you to do that with the way that he writes the lyrics. But I tend to wonder. I have to wonder sometimes, and I think about this a lot when we listen to some of this stuff, because a lot of metal music goes down this road of, I don't know. There's a million words you could use, but whatever the dark, anger and putridity and flesh, blood and death, the decay, stuff like this. Not all of it, but you know what I'm saying, right? And I wonder, so in order for him to get in the space you got to write so almost personally about this, you have to become immersed in it. It's just like if you're an actor or you're doing any other kind of art, the best art is to be affected by the thing that you're trying to illuminate.
Sure.
Because then it's felt, you read these lyrics and you wonder, does this guy want to do, has he done something like this? How does he know? How does he able to feel? So my concern is not that, I think that's good. I think you have to do that as a good artist. But personally, when you let those things in so much and they take up so much space in your mind, wouldn't that take
I would think so.
It starts to paint your reality a little bit, doesn't it?
I would think so.
And that's sort of been, that's a question I have about metal music as a whole sometimes, is if that's all you listen to, and that's, this is constantly the thing, you can call it a release, but that doesn't mean that number one, you're releasing it into the world. So you're putting it somewhere outside of yourself. So it goes somewhere else outside of you, and whoever's around you that's going to go on. But you're also releasing it because it's inside of you. It's welled up so much that you have to let some of it go. That doesn't mean it's then gone forever. So, that's a question I always have. Well, if someone spends so much time within that frame of mind, is it healthy? Do you not start seeing things? Do you not start maybe wanting to go do something like this, to really taste it a little more and to really smell it a little more? I think that's unavoidable. I think that if you continue, if you start to entertain any kind of emotions, whether that be of self-doubt or insecurity, the things that you would see on the more negative side about yourself, you start to think that way about yourself, and then you start to portray that on other people, and then that's just what you are until somebody's like, you're an asshole, why don't you do some self-reflection or something? You see what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
That's just a question I have. Now, I think that these lyrics are beautiful, and I would never think that I sort of have to shake myself a little bit and go, I kind of see what he's saying. Like, I wonder what that's like, But then, somebody that I wonder if your entertainment is seeing people hacked to pieces on screen, and that it's a fiction on screen, it's still a portrayal of something that could be real. So then, if you've seen the Faces of Death, the video that went around when we were younger, people dying.
Yeah.
So then that would interest you, right? If I were to say, if you were that kind of person that liked that kind of horror and gore, and I told you I've got a video of somebody being electrocuted for the first time in an electric chair, and that excites you to see it, to me that's a slippery slope. it's a slippery slope. If there's an interest in just how these things are, how the human body is affected by these things, that's medical, right? In a sense, that's medical. I want to tear this apart, the butterfly. I want to lay this out with pins and see where everything is. That's one thing. But then there's a whole nother side of that. If you do the, if it's already out there for me to see, that's one thing. But if I go get it and kill it and do it, then, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
And so I wonder sometimes.
I understand the question, yeah.
I wonder, and that's why I think I never listened to a lot of metal music. Now, because I didn't understand. I don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
And gore and stuff. I know that it's fake, but I still am like, because I'm imagining, I'm allowing myself by the art to be taken to a place that I'm going to think this is real for now, to feel whatever they're trying to tell me or symbolize whatever they're trying to symbolize. And even if I think about it as symbolic, I could look at this as symbolic. As it's not about necessarily Ed Gein, but it's using that stuff to try to, that the blood may symbolize something else, that the smell may, maybe this is about an emotion, about tearing apart a piece of ourselves, and being, and mutilating a part of ourselves that we need to get to the core of to understand it. So that, and that's a tough process, right? Mm-hmm. It's not appetizing to go through that process. So I could look at it in that sense. But then, from the other sense, I don't know, I just wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder. And that's thought-provoking for me. So that's good art, right? What kind of emotion does it give you when you read the lyrics and do you go, yeah, I want to smell the decay and lay my head on the chest of the warm blood and lay down with you. You're my necromantic sin. Having sex with the dead body. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. More, another one like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't want to.
Outside of the music, I know that the music that goes along with it is great. So it's propelled by something that I like musically. I'm not down on it. I'm just saying.
No, I know. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know. I've been listening to this kind of music for, I don't know, like the more extreme stuff, 15, 20 years now. Like I don't have an explanation for you other than I don't know, man. Like as someone who plays guitar, I appreciate the guitar work in the song. I appreciate the riffs. I appreciate the melody. Lyrically, I like horror movies. I don't like seek them out, but if there's a good one that's out or something, I'll watch it. I don't once get an urge to go and do these things or even really have that thought. I think it's more so the art or the artistic ability to, like you said, put yourself in those shoes and write from that perspective. And there's a boundary pushing with it too. You're pushing the limits of comfort.
Sure.
And I think that's more so one of the things I think I appreciate about.
But why?
I don't know.
If you say I'm scared of this roller coaster.
Because I could just as easily listen to this song as.
Right, but if you're afraid, if you're afraid of being around a large group of people, or public speaking or something. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm going to put you outside. I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you, and I'm going to make you go speak in front of these people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I pushed you to this uncomfortable spot, and then you got there and you realized, this isn't that bad. I could do this, and you conquer that fear. So then if you're going to push the level of comfort in this sense, because I think being outside of your comfort zone is a good learning space. Okay, so being pushed outside of my comfort zone in a situation like this, what am I learning? I'm just posing the question. I'm not using it as anything against it. But you bring up something like aha, all right, so, and this goes along with it. So music, lyrics, if I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? All right, I have experiences in my life where I can hear that lyric, or I may say them to you, or a movie line, or something that relates, right? Mm-hmm. When would I say this? Well, like if there's a point in my life where I would say, well, necromantic sin, I'm not sure. I would have to put myself in those situations. Yeah. For me to then, you understand what I mean? Yeah. And I think if I'm totally into that kind of stuff, I might gravitate towards that. And that's a slippery, dangerous slope to be in. This is why I sometimes don't understand the fascination of these more grotesque. And it's more of the physical stuff. It's more of the decay, that kind of thing. The more spiritual aspect of it, I can understand a little more. The longing and the self. You know what I mean? Like the depression, all those kinds of things. But the actual physical side of flesh and blood side of it, if it's not symbolic and it's actual literal, that's where I get I get a little bit like, you liked it? This is something that gives you a rise to see somebody, to think about you cutting somebody, or you understand, are you having sex with a dead corpse? Like, if it's not symbolic, then that's where I start to wonder if it can be a healthy thing to indulge in. But anyway, so the comfort zone thing, again, I understand that there's a shock value maybe to it. We talk about this with Slayer all the time. And if it's just for, hey, I want to shock these people so they pay attention to it and put a parental advisory and it goes to Congress and now my name's out there and now I make a lot of money because I'm selling a lot of records whether people like it or you understand? Churches, buy my records so you can use it as an example of what not to listen to, at least you're buying the records. If there's that element in it, great, I'm all for it, But you just mentioned, it's pushing the level of comfort. I'm all for that too. But in the sense that I'm going to be able to have a personal battle or learn something, you never learn anything unless you're a little uncomfortable. But what do I learn if it's not symbolic? I can get with the symbolism, and I can also get with you trying to put me in the mind of somebody to have sympathy for somebody that had a compulsion to do something that they could not help. I can also see that, I mean, you could almost go this way with any dictator, anybody like that. You prop somebody up, you give them power. What did you expect to happen? Sort of a thing. I can't blame them all the way because their environment, they were nurtured by their environment. It was not necessarily their nature that you can possibly. I mean, everybody's born the way they're born. I mean, they're all programmed. Everybody's programmed, right? And there's sympathy. You can have empathy for this kind of thing, but then when you put it on, and you try to become that a little bit, again, it's more. I think there's just more of a fine line that it's intoxicating to fall one way or the other. You can stand there and say, well, that's bad because it says this. And I don't think that's right. I'm not saying that. It's not the kind of person I'm trying to portray myself as being. But then you go too far over it and you say, yeah, I'm like that. I kind of like that. maybe that's a little too far too, because now, in order for you to really get it, you need to go cut somebody up.
Those people exist. And that's what the song's about.
And people, yeah, but you know, we put them on trial and put them in jail and isolate them forever from everybody else ever. You know, how far does that understanding go? If it's just artistic and just symbolic, I'm all for it. But again, you know, then let the serial killers out. I mean, they're just right. They're just satisfying their own appetites that they can't control. You put them up for a little while in your house and see if they look at your. You see what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. And I don't have an explanation for why I like it. I don't.
Is there an element of when you like it, then you support it? Do you support?
No.
Okay.
No. Absolutely not. No.
You don't have to support that, and so that's I guess.
No, I think it's
that's
more,
I guess a question that we could.
For me, more so, it's kind of what you're saying. And I agree. There is a fine line. Like you have the choice or the decision to make of, like, for me it's exploring the realms of darkness and violence and whatever else, you know. It's being written in a beautiful way, articulate, in this artistic,
no doubt,
way of his writing. I think it just breaks the monotony for me of everyday life and working a job, you know, and seeing the same people every week and doing the same things. I think it's just, I mean, everybody has an outlet, or everybody, for the most part, has an outlet.
When you become if you walk in these
I like
these arenas, is there not they grab at you?
From a psychological standpoint, I enjoy documentaries on serial killers. Like
who doesn't?
Right.
But that's so weird. Is that?
I don't know.
Can't you look at that a little bit and go, why do I enjoy
this?
Are we interested in this person murdering copious amounts of people?
For me, it's more so. Like if you watch,
and the more you find out about why they did it,
if you watch like Dahmer's interviews when he was in prison, like that dude was, he was as emotionless. I mean, they're asking him why, and they're asking him what drove this and what was your motive, and he's just he never blinks. He never has a wrinkle in his face of any sort of a fighting back emotion. He's just calculatedly telling you what he did, why he did it, and what, like, to me, that fascinates me. It's not something that I want to go do. It's not something that I see in myself, but it's like people like that exist in this world, and there's just this intrigue that I have, and intrigue might be a little bit too nice of a word, but I'm curious about it because, like, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't make me look at a stranger on the street and go, oh, that guy's got bodies in the basement, you know. But the fact that people like that do exist, you know, and I use Dahmer as an example because those interviews exist. I mean, there's just a curiosity that I have from a strictly a mental psychological standpoint of, like, how does someone end up that way? Ed Gein, you know,
all right, so
crazy thing.
So to kill somebody, there's a rush involved with that. To take a life, or whatever, and we don't have to look at it from the deprivation side of it. Just you're.
And I think that's what's missing. If I were to take someone's life, I don't think I would have not the same rush that a serial killer.
Well, maybe. I
mean, obviously there would be adrenaline.
Maybe there's where the fascination comes into stuff like that, is the fact that everybody is unsure if they have that
Yeah.
capability.
Yeah.
So they're fascinated by it. They want to find out more about it to see if somehow subconsciously if they could do this, if they could pull this off. But you know, I mean, there's one of the biggest, you know, markets in the world are crime. People that pay attention to murder, who murdered who, and not just Sherlock Holmes was about, the most fascinating thing about Sherlock Holmes is him showing how he figured out the little details about that this person did it. That's one thing. But then people get so fascinated by, well, where did he put the body? What did he do to the body beforehand? Did he cut up the body? Where did he put it after that? How long did he sit around it? What did he do with the body? The lyrics there mentioned about the eyes. That was such a beautiful image about the green glint in the eyes. That's so cool. Looking, so I can look, so you can look at
flex.
Yeah, but so I can look at you forever, or you can look at me or something. Wow, that's so
preserve them in formaldehyde.
So crazy. That's such a beautiful image. But and maybe that's again. I'm not saying anybody is deranged. That because how I truly think about this on some level, you want to kill people, and you can do it like Dahmer and the Iceman, that guy Richard Kuklinski, did it for money. It was his job. Sure. And he was good at it.
His interviews, emotionless.
Well, he gets emotional
a little bit
about his own family and how it affected them. So he has emotion about a family, his family. He took care of his family. But he ruined hundreds of others. Now these were essentially bad people in the world of crime, right? So he's, maybe not everybody, but he's, listen to that guy. I took a bat, I hit him in the back of the head until he wasn't moving no more. And it was his job. He got paid to do it. Okay, how can I fault the guy? They were bad people, maybe. That guy Sam Little, who went around killing prostitutes. And nobody ever knew he was doing it till he admitted it to somebody. You seen this guy?
Yeah, just recent, right?
The most prolific serial killer in the U.S. at this point. And, maybe he was helping these people out whose existence may not have been being beneficial. They were in a bad place, maybe. I don't know if, maybe. Again, I go back and forth in my head with saying, oh, well, people that kill people are bad. Are they? Is there really morality that's involved with, does it really matter if we kill somebody? Does that, in the grand scheme, is it going to matter? You're going to die anyway. The manner of your death, is the manner of your death really weighing on some cosmic scale? And again, there's Hitchcock movies about this, about the highest intellect is somebody who can take another life of somebody else, and then live, and then not have this. You know what I mean? And I love to think about that philosophically, because in some way I wonder. You have two countries that are going to go to war with each other. Both are saying, I'm doing it for God. But that killing's okay. We've said that killing's all right. It's in war. Is it? There's some people that go and they are serial killers about how, World War I, somebody may pick off however many people. Well, but he was fighting on the side of good. Even though they had families, you understand? So what's the difference? What's the difference?
I don't know.
So anyway, I'm not anything I said. I know you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I know.
But I am still a little. The thing that I can't answer in myself sometimes when it comes to this thing that we're doing with this music is, if you're a tourist through these ideas of darkness and death and whatever. Not being symbolic, and sometimes being symbolic. They grab at you when you do your tour through their area. They they grab a little bit at you, or they put a little something in there. You know, you have to give a little bit of yourself to get. And then sometimes I wonder how that, you know, I really am curious about the fact that Trevor committed suicide. Mm-hmm. Why did did he allow himself to get so immersed in the subject matter that he was doing that the demons were too much for him, and he had to quiet them?
I don't know.
You know, I mean, that's where my mind goes
Sure.
to wonder about, because he speaks about these things so eloquently as if he knows.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't know by having done it, then he has opened himself up as a channel to the spirits of these things, which I know exist, and possibly occupy him. And maybe he got to total speculation on my part, just wondering. Maybe he got to a point where he realized, I have to do these things now in order for me to continue to, you know, your appetite for it. You understand?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And that maybe he got so close to it, it becomes it's a magnetic or electrical thing where now it's within his grasp, and maybe I don't know. That's just I think about that sometimes, because, you know, you sit in a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. Mm-hmm. How about that one? Deepest metaphor.
Very true. Very true.
Anyway, I'm going to run it.
If there are any lyricists or vocalists or people that write
who have killed people
that write these lyrics for bands, that just on the off chance that you subscribe to the channel and you made it this far in the video,
sorry.
First of all, probably seek help if you've made it this far in the video. Reach out to us. Maybe we can have you on the channel and discuss this from a more
why you do what you do. I'm kidding.
Anyways, that was Deathmask Divine by the Black Dahlia Murder from 2007's Nocturnal.
Child enough. Beautiful song, really.
We are Great Measures. My name is Richard. This is Judson. Have a wonderful
Great
day,
Measures.
everybody.